This meeting's now called to order. We'll go ahead and do the emergency announcement.
Before we get started, let me read the emergency evacuation procedures. In the event of an emergency evacuation, an alarm will sound. Everyone should exit the building by way of the nearest stairwell in a safe and effective manner. If the nearest stairwell is blocked by smoke, use the other stairwell. Do not use the elevator. Once you've reached the main floor, follow the exit signs to exit the building and quickly proceed away from the building. Please be mindful of others evacuating and of emergency vehicles.
First item of business is the election of a chairperson for the beer board. Do I have any nominations? Okay, Steve Michaels, nominated by Rick Carver, seconded by Stacy Lawhorn. Are there any other nominations? Okay, have a second to, all right, all in favor of that nomination cease, please say aye. Aye. We'll have a roll call vote for Commissioner Michaels to serve as the chairman of the beer board.
Commissioner Bennett? Yes. Commissioner Carver? Yes. Commissioner French?
Yes.
Commissioner Hood?
Yes.
Commissioner King is absent, sorry. Commissioner Lawhorn? Yes. Commissioner McCauley?
Yes.
Commissioner Michaels? Commissioner Reagan?
Yes.
You have 7 yes, 1 abstain, and 1 absent.
Commissioner Michaels, come take your seat.
I'll let you.
Okay, I'll help you what I can. Let me get the roll call.
We're going to be spending a lot of time together. Learning how to be chairman.
You got an agenda?
Over there.
Here.
Bring it up here with you.
All right. Your first item of business is election of the vice chair.
Okay, the first item of business is the election of the vice chair. Have a motion to proceed.
For who? Nominations.
Okay, I'd like to ask this time if there's any nominations for vice chair. Robbie Bennett. Okay, we'll take a voice vote.
You've got, are there other nominations?
Are there any other nominations? Motion to cease.
Second by Tom. Yes.
Like I asked everybody to vote.
Okay, Commissioner Bennett? Yes for,
You abstain.
oh, you abstained. Okay, I'm sorry. You were the one nominated. Commissioner Carver? Yes. Commissioner French?
Yes.
Commissioner Hood?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawhorn? Commissioner McCulley?
Yes.
Commissioner Michaels?
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan? Mr. Chairman, you have 7 yes votes for Commissioner Bennett to serve as your vice chair.
Thank you. You like to move, Ron? Don't you have to come up here and sit?
No.
The next item is setting of the agenda.
Do I have a motion to set the agenda?
Push your buttons.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Reagan,
Wait just a minute. Is your button on? There we go. Gotcha.
second by Commissioner Carver.
You need to sign in.
Okay.
Has everybody signed in? Everybody signed in? Okay. Yes. Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
all right. Now you're ready for your vote for setting.
Okay, at this time, we'll vote to set the agenda. If you would, place your vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 yes votes.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to making a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of May 8th, 2018, which was the last meeting.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner French
Commissioner Carver, second.
made the motion, and Commissioner Carver made the second.
Now you ask if there's any, if you're ready for your vote.
Okay, are we ready to take a vote on the approval of the minutes? If we are, place your vote.
Mr. Chairman, there are 8 yes votes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item C, the public input on items on the agenda. Do we have anything that the public would like to talk about?
Now you're on unfinished business.
Okay, don't see anything there. Item D, unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? Okay. Item D1, review distance requirements. And you can see the attachment of the beer ordinance with changes of 8/5/14 revised. Is there any discussion on that?
It's Commissioner French.
Commissioner French?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The reason this is on the agenda tonight is I've had several people approach me to ask us to take a look at the distance requirements. Right now, I think the requirements for on and off premises is 1,000 feet. And at this time, I'd like to recognize our county attorney, Craig Garrett, and have him speak on this issue.
I think I'm on. Members of the board, the Tennessee law provides that the commission can set certain distance requirements that establishments have for having a business that deals with the sale of beer. There are basically 2 requirements in the statute, and as I understand from talking to Commissioner French, he had asked me to come and talk about this. The first one that I'll mention is, I don't think it's something that's up for review, but there's one distance requirement of the law that requires that any establishment seeking a beer permit may not be within 300 feet of any residence, any home, and that requirement requires the homeowner to appear when there is an application for a beer permit and object to the permit if they don't want that to happen. So that's something that's pretty much set by law. The other distance requirement in the statute is that state law allows the beer board to not allow any businesses that are selling alcohol within no more than or up to 2,000 feet of any church, school, or place of public gathering. In other words, the maximum distance that we can require an establishment to be from a church, school, or place of public gathering is 2,000 feet. Our beer ordinance currently requires 1,000 feet. That's an amendment that was made some time ago. I don't know if we did that when we revised the beer ordinance in 2014, or if that was distance requirement had been in place longer than that. But what Commissioner French asked me to do, he apparently had received some questions and requests about maybe lowering that distance requirement. So, and this is a requirement that probably over time has come down in various places, and he asked me to look at other entities, other cities, counties, and for kind of a frame of reference. And I can tell you that I've looked at other beer ordinances. The city of Knoxville has a 300 foot rule. Knox County also has a 300-foot rule. The cities of Alcoa and Maryville have a 150-foot rule. Town of Farragut has a 340-foot rule, and I think Commissioner French, Sullivan County, who's a county comparable to size in us, is a 300-feet rule. So the reason this was placed on the agenda was if the body was interested in lowering that requirement, that certainly could be done, and I'm not here to recommend that they do, don't, or what. I just wanted to make you aware of what's going on in some other locations, as I was requested to do. If the board is of a mind to lower that distance requirements, what is required is an amendment of our beer ordinance, and I think in your packets today is the ordinance that we have adopted for Blount County, and we adopt that pursuant to authorization by Tennessee Code. And in Section 11 of our current beer ordinance, we have the 1,000 foot rule that's in effect. And this board does not have the authority to modify the beer ordinance. This board has the authority, and what generally happens if an amendment, if it is felt that an amendment is necessary to the beer ordinance in any capacity, this board recommends that to the full commission, and then it would go to the full commission for the full commission to act on any recommendation of the board. So if you all are interested in lowering that 1,000 foot rule to a lesser requirement, that's certainly something that the board can recommend to the full commission. You would do that by someone making a motion and this board voting on that. And if it's voted to amend, the motion would be to amend the beer ordinance to modify that distance requirement. So I think that's why I was asked to come tonight. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer those, or if y'all would interested in further discussing this among yourselves, that would certainly be appropriate as well.
All right, thank you, Mr. Garrett. At this time, is there anyone else that would like to speak on the matter? Commissioner French?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Like I said, I've had several people approach me that would like to see the distance requirements lowered. I think we should lower them somewhat to be in line with the surrounding community. Like Mr. Garrett said, Alcoa is 150 foot, Maryville's 150 foot, Lenore City's 300 foot. I don't wish to lower them to those distances, but I think that we could lower it to 500 feet. And I would like to move that we amend the beer board regulations to lower the distance to 500 feet and send it to the full commission for their approval.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner French. So, is there any more discussion?
I need a second.
All right, Commissioner Bennett seconds the motion by Commissioner French. So if there's not any more discussion, we'll take a vote.
Ready for
Commissioner McCauley?
I haven't had anybody to speak to me about it or even not say anything about changing this. So I don't see the reason why we need to change it myself. I think 1,000 feet in the county is a good distance to have it. I can see the difference between the cities and the county. The cities doesn't have the space and the distance to have it, probably more than 300 feet, whatever they have it, but in the county, I think 1,000 feet is a good distance to have it, so I'm opposed to changing it myself.
Thank you, Commissioner McCauley. Any further discussion?
Yeah, they're not.
Okay, at this time, we'll take a vote on the amendment to revise the distance of the requirement to sell alcohol. At this time, if you'll make your vote on your computer screen.
Mr. Chairman, there are 5 yes votes and 3 no votes.
Thank you. Ms. Clark? Okay, moving on to item E on the agenda, new business. I guess we'll set the date. E1, set the date for the next beer board meeting.
Yeah.
What, okay. All right, well, you'll be notified of the date of the next beer board meeting. Okay. Okay. Okay, so the clerk did advise us that the motion passed to reduce the distance requirement. So it will be forwarded on to the full commission on next month's agenda, on the agenda workshop. Any discussion on that? Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.